Welcome to another session today. We're going to talk about how fitness impacts your whole being. One of the things that most of us are not aware of is that our lives is made of energy. Energy affects every aspect of your life. It affects your relationships. It affects your relationship with loved ones. It affects your relationship with yourself. It affects your spirituality. It affects your productivity. Life is simply how much energy you have on a daily basis. My simple definition of energy is it is your ability to do work. When you don't really have energy, chances are it will impact the quality of your life. When we are young people, nobody ever tells us how important energy is. Most of us always think that energy is infinite. We don't understand that energy is finite until we get very old. The only difference between a 60-year-old and a 20-year-old is not the number of years they've lived. In most cases, it's the amount of energy available for them to be able to do stuff. We've always been told that building is left, or building is important, or building should be done in your younger age. And it is simply because anything that it demands or anything that requires a lot of energy, it's better for it to be done in your youth because you have an abundance of energy. As we get older, you will realize that demand will always exceed capacity. The demand on your time, the demand of activities, the things that you have to do in your life will always be more than the time that you have. As a young person, you are only limited by your imagination. You are only limited by the vision of the life that you want to have. You are limited by the kind of how you dream on the kind of life that you want. So what I need to do in today's session, I need to show you how physical fitness has a big impact on every area of your life. And to do this, I'm going to use a very easy pyramid of health. And pyramid is one of my favorite tools when it comes to teaching. I'm going to divide your life into 4 areas. And at the bottom here, which is the very basic, I will start with physical health. Physical health, this is where you get your raw energy. This is one thing that most of us always think of energy when we think of people that participate or make a living from manual labor. When you talk of construction workers, when you talk of athletes, when you talk of anybody that uses their physical strength for them to make a living, we only think of energy at this level. And this is basic. For me to be able to talk to you, for me to be able to see you, for me to be able to teach you now, for me to be able to come to work, to be able to take my dog for a walk, for me to be able to do any of those things, I need some kind of raw energy that is going to fuel my body. What are the things that we need to do for us to get energy here? The important thing that I want to teach you today is I want us to talk about principles. Principles are microcosms of other principles, which means that the principles that are applicable here should be applicable in every other area of your life. A principle in simple terms is a system that gives you guaranteed outcome. If you take a principle in one field, you should be able to apply it in a different field of your life or a different phase of your life and get the same outcome. How do we get physical energy? The first thing here, the principle here is nutrition. We have to be able to eat right. Number 2, exercise. Number 3, air. This is oxygen. We need to be able to take in pure oxygen, be able to breathe properly. Number 4 is sleep. These are the basics that you need on a day-to-day basis. And of course, water, which is H2O here. If you break any of this, it will affect your physical raw energy. You have to eat properly, and when we're talking about eating properly, I'm not going to get into the depth of this here. This is just to show you how this whole thing is connected. But you have to understand your food is broken down into three macros. We're talking about carbohydrates, we're talking about protein, which is going to be the pyramid, the main pillar that we build your nutrition on. We're talking, of course, of fats, which most of us shun, but it plays a very big, important role in your life. Exercise, movement. Anybody 40 plus, as much as people just talk about exercise, talking from an aerobic point of view, it's very important for you to bring in resistance training. As we get older, one thing that is very hard on our bodies is gravity. Gravity is consistently fighting your muscle and is consistently trying to pull you down. You are stooping forward. So the difference between a younger person and an older person is the body composition in terms of lean muscle weight to body fat percentage. So we need to bring in some resistance exercise. And when I talk about this, I'm not talking just purely from a weight perspective. You should be able to at least move your body to against any kind of resistance. You have to be able to do a push-up. You have to be able to do at least a pull-up. You have to be able to do a squat. You have to be able to do a lunge. You have to be able to lift your own body and do curves. So your exercise must have resistance. You must have some kind of cardiovascular resistance for your heart health. And of course, you need to bring in mobility. As we get older, our body gets too stiff, and especially for men, we start suffering with a lot of hip problems, which will always culminate in tight muscles, and we start having a lot of back problems because we sit for too long, and then we spend 8 hours, 6, 7, 8 hours sleeping, and we're spending another 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 hours sitting at work. You can see why we have a lot of back problems. Air. Most people just don't really understand how important breathing is unless they become a victim of diseases like emphysema, or people that are suffering from being choked with a piece of meat. Majority of people don't really understand how this is important. Very few, if you look at the new statistics, people are struggling to sleep. And one of the best-selling supplements, I should say, in this country is sleeping pills, something that is so natural. A lot of us need aid in terms of sleeping well. When you don't sleep well, we have what we call the body circadian cycle, the body circadian rhythm, which affects everything. If you don't sleep well, it will affect your appetite, it will affect your mental clarity, it will affect your emotions. It affects every single thing in your life. So sleep is very important, and we're talking about easy. If you somebody that meditates, you can get away with 6 hours, but on average, majority of people need between 7 and 8 hours. If you take 24 hours and you divide it by 3, we're supposed to sleep for 8 hours, eat for 8 hours, and of course be able to work for 8 hours. Hydration. 85% of people are hydrated. People don't drink enough water at all. People drink energy drinks. If you look around you, 1 out of 3 people are busy galloping down energy drinks. Why? Because they feel tired. People drink a lot of coffees. People drink a lot of sugary drinks simply because people are not drinking a lot of water. The part of your brain, which is your hypothalamus, that is responsible for your hunger, it is the same part that is responsible for your thirst. But when it sends the signal, because you're thirsty and you're hungry, most of us will always assume that we're hungry and we'll always go for a snack, rather than most times what your body needs here is simply a glass of water. So the easiest way to fix this is the first thing when you wake up in the morning, make sure that you drink a glass of water. Majority of people, the most common thing, the most common beverage that a lot of people take in first thing in the morning is always coffee. But we forget that coffee, it dehydrates you. And by dehydrating you consistently, you keep on wanting more, and rather than drinking water, pure clean tap water, most people will keep on from coffee. They're going to go to an energy drink, they're going to go to a sports drink, and all they're doing here is to try and take away the energy deficit that they're facing in their body. So when it comes to this, unfortunately, there's no way you're going to be able to fix your physical raw energy until you subject yourself to these 5 principles. The second one here is emotion. Raw energy drives your emotions. As they always say, emotion drives motion, or motion drives emotions. So if you're feeling tired, automatically it's going to affect your response to life. Most people that are physically tired are always in a state of emergency. They're always reactive. They're always feeling, the emotions that they feel are always anxiety, depression is one of those. But if you're suffering from anxiety, if you're suffering from any emotion where there's a deficit from suffering from raw physical energy, automatically you become reactive to things. Now, to fix this, first thing is we cannot fix your emotional energy until your physical energy is set up. This becomes the foundation. Irrespective of what we try and do here, you cannot be in a good mood if you don't work out, if you don't eat right, if you don't sleep well, if you don't drink water, and if you don't breathe well. Most of us don't really understand that. From an emotional point of view, after you build this, the second muscles that we need, the supporting muscles that we need here, if you fully trained, if you've subjected yourself, if you submit yourself to this, it will give us what we call self-confidence. These have become muscles we're working on. Self-esteem, self-respect, and of course, things like here, it brings in self-control and self-management. These are the things that we need for us to be emotionally connected. We need to be physically energized. We need to be emotionally connected. Here, you need to be emotionally connected. Here, you need to be physically energized for you to build that base. Then it brings us to the third energy here, which is mental or mind. How physically energized you are determines how emotionally connected you're going to be and how mentally focused you're going to be in your activities. In the world that we live in now, you cannot be productive if you cannot be focused. You cannot be productive if you lack the ability to be able to take one thing and focus with it in an environment that is so cluttered and is trying to steal away your focus. What are the support muscles when it comes to this? Number one, we must learn to declutter our environment. You can't have a desk that is full of open books, open computers, open files. That will always take away your focus. The second thing we have to understand here that your brain is 2 to 3% of your total body fat, of your total body weight, but it consumes up to 25% of your total oxygen intake and 25% of your total calories. So this one becomes one of those, and one of the biggest sources of fuel for your mind here when it comes to nutrition is fats. Good fats. A lot of people, very few people eat your omega-3s, omega-3 fats here. And we're talking about avocados, we're talking about sardines, we're talking about olive oil, we're talking about coconut butter, talking about things like salmon. These are must things when it comes to your mental focus, in terms of making sure that you're very focused when it comes to work. And it brings us to our last one here, which is your spiritual energy. Now, spiritual energy, you need to be physically energized, be emotionally connected, mentally focused, and spiritually aligned to a cause that is bigger than self-interest. The biggest muscle, supporting muscle here, is character. This is anytime you're faced with a life and death situation in your life, one thing that will determine how quickly you bounce from bottom to top is dependent on your spiritual energy. Your spiritual energy is characterized by character. And the two things that we need when it comes to character, you need conviction and courage for you to be able to stand up and stand for whatever it is that you believe in, irrespective of personal consequences from the people or the environment that you're working in. But for you to be able to do this, it becomes impossible also if you don't take care of yourself. If your body is too tired, it will always affect your spiritual energy. So character, for us to form character here, first thing that we need to come up with, we need to come up with our value system. And when we talk about our values, we have to have values. My personal values here, number one, personal value is honesty. Second value here is contribution. Third value is family. Then fourth value is things like faith. Those are things that we have to come up here. But I will give you an easy one for you to remember and to choose from. I've got what we call the 5 F's of success, or the 5 F's of wealth. And under this is the five values that most of us, if you want to be a fully aligned, if you want to be a fully ignited, a very well-centered human being, it brings you, number one here is faith, number two here is family, number three here is finance, number four here is fitness, and last one here is friends. Now, if you can try and get this in alignment, then every single day you go down on your knees and you thank God, because this means you're living a very well-aligned life. You're living an ignited life. You're living a very centered life where you feel alive, you feel present, and you feel like you are contributing to society. So most of us always look at gym and we look at it here, but we do not really understand how this affects every single area of your life. There is none of the programs that we do here at Dream Body Fitness where we only focus on the physical. Physical becomes the lowest, the easiest physical thing for us to be able to draw you into the program. But if you're trying just to lose weight for the physical sake of it, you'll keep on starting and stopping. That's why you find that weight loss has a very high failure rate. Weight loss has an 85% failure rate simply because people do not connect the dots between physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual. And this becomes very, very important. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to hit me in the comment section. And if you've not subscribed to our channel, do the right thing. Hit the subscribe button, hit the bell button to make sure that anytime we bring out any content like this, that you are among the first people to be notified. God bless, take care of yourself, and remember, share and like this. See you in the inside.